You came from hell, I came from the advancing city, and when Katie woke up, she suddenly found herself a small prisoner on the underground level, with more than 30 hours left until Ace's public execution. Don't panic, the strong becoming a god system is at your service. Copy whatever you want directly, and with one-click upgrade assistance, make the host instantly become a god. Main characters. Katie, Ace. Keywords of the novel. Pirates. Opening Top War. No pop-ups, Pirates. Opening Top War Complete Collection Download, Pirates. Opening Top War Latest Chapter Reading. Chapter 1. Promotion of Birthplace into the City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What should I do? What should I do? On Katie's forehead, beads of sweat the size of beans appeared, and the smell in her nose was terrible. The atmosphere around her was unimaginably oppressive. After an hour of observation, Katie finally confirmed her position and situation. Everything in front of me is both familiar and unfamiliar to me, because this is Inverton, the world's largest prison of One Piece. As a seasoned sea fan who has been following dramas for over a decade, the name Pelton can be said to be extremely familiar, even more so than the vast majority of people here who understand its composition. But the problem is, I never thought that one day I would come here in person, and it suddenly arrived in such a dog-blood way through time travel, without any warning before that. Just as Katie was pondering, a voice suddenly came, and one of the names made her very concerned. Hey, have you heard that guy from Fire Fist Ace was also caught a few days ago? It's really fake. He's the captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, and how could a person with natural fruit abilities be caught? I've heard about this too, the news is true. It's locked up in our prison, and it's hard to say which floor it is. For this astonishing news, others couldn't react for a moment. The person with a white beard dared to be caught by the Navy. Oh my goodness, what is the Navy doing? He dares to catch a person with a white beard. That old man is the strongest man in the world, so he's not afraid that the Navy headquarters will be turned upside down by him. I can't say for sure. Although Whitebeard is strong, he is just one person, and he is still getting older. The Navy is different, not only with the 3 great generals of his heyday, but also with the Warring States Marshal and the hero Kapu. If we add the 7 Marshal Seas under the king, the result will really be hard to say. Hey, are you a pirate or a Navy? How do you know to help the Navy speak? I'm just judging from the facts. A group of people started arguing with each other, which can also be seen as a way for them to pass the long prison life. At the same time, Katie, who had listened to their conversation, froze in place. Just now I was praying, hoping that there would be 10 or 8 years left until the Top War, so that I could sneak into prison for a while, and then follow Luffy who came to rob the prison to escape, while also participating in the Top War and trying to save Ace and Whitebeard. In this way, one can establish their own reputation, and the days of marrying Gao Fume and reaching the pinnacle of life are not far away. However, to everyone's surprise, Ace has already been arrested, which means that going to war is already a matter in front of us. In between, having 10 or 8 days can be considered as heaven's eye-opening. With his current cannon fodder level strength, he is not even qualified to participate in the upcoming Century War, and Luffy may not necessarily take him away. Successfully descended, start binding. Just as Katie was lost in thought, a machine sound of electronic mixing suddenly rang out in her mind. Who's talking? Just as Katie finished speaking, she regretted it. As a newcomer to the other people in this cell, she was already disliked and should have minimized her presence as much as possible. However, this voice successfully broke her original plan. In an instant, everyone's gaze shifted towards Katie, unable to understand what he was going crazy about. Hey, you're dying, new here. What are you shouting about? Just as I thought of this, a burly man shouted at me, his eyes even more unfriendly. Forget about Hooke, don't pay attention to him. He looks like a poor guy who was caught as soon as he set foot on a great voyage. His head is probably what, so don't take him for granted. It's really unlucky to be locked up with this kind of trash, disgusting. From beginning to end, Katie just silently lowered her head and remained silent, seeming to be very afraid. It wasn't until the other person turned around that they lifted their head, with a fleeting killing intent in their eyes. The reason why I didn't choose to take action now is twofold. Firstly, I don't have much confidence. Secondly, I care more about the voice in my mind than killing Hooke. Successfully bound, the strong becoming God system is serving you. In order to prevent the host from crashing on the first day, the system has prepared a beginner gift package for you. Do you need the host to open it now? Suddenly pinching her thigh, the sour pain made Katie realize that she was not dreaming, and from now on, she was also a systematic person. This way, there was hope for her days of punching the red dog and kicking the yellow ape. It's not urgent. I would like to know what kind of help you can provide me and what do I need to do. Faced with the sudden surprise, Katie didn't rush to open it, but planned to first figure out what was going on with the system. With my help, the host can randomly extract a certain ability from the people around them, but there are limitations as each person can only extract it once. At the same time, the system also provides a storage space of 1,000 cubic meters for the host, which can accommodate everything except live animals. Furthermore, in order to test the host's ability and encourage progress, the host needs to complete the tasks I assign. Each time, I will provide 2 different tasks for the host to choose from, and after completion, there will be a considerable reward, including exchange points used in the system wall. If the task fails or is intentionally delayed, although there is no punishment, the host will also waste many opportunities to become stronger as a result. In short, the choice is in your hands. Whether you want to be a dragon or a worm depends on your own wishes. At this point, the sound of the system stopped, but Katie's heart kept repeating what the system said back and forth. Although I don't know the reason why I traveled here, since I came, I just want to break through a world, do something I want to do, and change the direction of this world. System, open the beginner gift pack. I want to know what you have prepared for me. It all depends on the host's luck. Even I can't control the random appearance of things in the gift package. Upon hearing this, Katie's face turned black. Her luck had always been average, although she could not be considered an African chieftain, she was definitely not a god of Europe. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the soul-slaying blade. Breaking the sky. However, today is destined to be Katie's lucky day, although it is not yet known what special abilities the recently obtained soul-slaying blade will bring to herself. Just thinking about it makes me feel excited. That's a soul-slaying sword. As long as you learn the first or final solution, it's equivalent to acquiring a special ability. If you have good luck and obtain a good demon fruit, you're like a double fruit ability person. The picture is simply not too beautiful. However, at this time, Katie had not truly experienced the power of the system, and later realized how simple her current ideas were. Chapter 2. Luffy's arrival and Bucky's escape from prison. You are listening at novelfull.audio. System, can you tell me the abilities of this soul-slaying blade? Katie was also very curious about the soul-slaying blade she had obtained, not knowing how this void-breaking blade, which had never appeared in the plot before, could bring her any help. Space, the ability of this knife is related to space, and the specific effect requires the host to understand and familiarize themselves. Although the description of the system was simple and vague, Katie was extremely surprised. The most important components of the world are 2 points, space and time. Space determines the form of matter, while time determines the changes in matter. Katie never expected her luck to explode one day. Katie believes that this soul-slaying sword is definitely the most top-notch existence. Consciously entering the storage space within the system, looking at the silver-white void all over, the more I looked, the more I liked it. If it weren't for the situation, Katie would have taken it out and played with it long ago. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the entry-level physical skill LV3 from the pirate passerby armor. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining the entry-level marksmanship LV2 from Pirate Passerby B. Just as Katie carefully observed the soul-slaying blade in the system, a series of warning sounds rang out without any warning, lasting for half a minute. After everything was over, Katie realized that she had suddenly added 10 abilities to her personal page in her system. What caught Katie's attention the most was a swordsmanship skill called Half Moon Slash. What surprised her even more was that this skill was obtained from Hooke, and what left Katie speechless was that there was also a girl picking skill, which reached a terrifying LV5. System, this is the ability you bring. What does entry-level LV3 mean? Why is there a plus sign after each skill? A skill has its strengths and weaknesses, and the entry-level is the weakest level, with mastery, master, master, and so on, each level having 10 sub-levels. As for the following plus sign, it is used to improve skill levels. Of course, this requires a certain number of skill points. The higher the level, the more skill points are needed. Skill points can only be obtained after the host completes the command issued by the system. Of course, the host's frequent practice can also increase skill levels. Nodding, Katie naturally understood the reasoning behind the system's statement. It seemed that she had to find a way to complete the task assigned by the system. Once the host's intention is detected, tasks can be scheduled for the host. Task 1. As the freest pirate on the sea, I can't bear the insults of others for a second. Please find a way to personally solve the pirate Hooke. Task reward. 2 skill points, 1000 exchange points. Task 2. Sometimes, holding back can be a way to ignore Hooke's insults and spend time with him to see who falls first in prison. Task reward. 1 skill point, 500 exchange points. After confirming that her eyes were not wrong, Katie also understood the urinary nature of the system, which clearly meant causing trouble for herself. In comparison, the first task was much simpler. There is no difficulty in killing someone when there is a broken space. The only problem is how to face the guards of the advancing city after killing someone, and it may even be against that guy Magellan. With my current strength, encountering him will only lead to a dead end. But the second task is not as simple as it is said, spending life on it. This is a city of advancement, and fate is completely controlled by others. Accidents can happen at any time, which is much harder than the first task. Moreover, the reward is twice as good, so there is no choice at all. System, I choose the first one. The task has been determined, and we hope the host can complete it as soon as possible. Looking at Hooker's unprepared back, Katie really wanted to give him a knife now, but she rationally told herself that it was not the time yet, and she had to wait for the opportunity to come, which was the arrival of Luffy. Little did they know that this opportunity was right in front of them. A naval ship was sailing at full speed on the sea, 1 day away from the city of propulsion. This ship was also carrying the only woman in the 7 martial seas under the king, and was also the king of the Amazon Lily Kingdom, known as the Empress Hancock. His Highness Hancock, the advancing city has arrived, and we need to disembark. The sound of the flying squirrels echoed through the door panels into the ears of Hancock and Luffy, who exchanged a glance. Luffy quickly rushed into Hancock's dress, tidied up everything, and then Hancock walked out of the room, leading the way ahead. Even in the face of Rear Admiral Flying Squirrels in the Navy headquarters, Hancock's attitude remained as cold as ice. Perhaps it should be said that only when facing Luffy would her face show a long-lost smile. Staring at the room where Hancock had left for a long time, the Flying Squirrel's eyes finally moved away. For some reason, Hancock's behavior throughout the entire voyage seemed too abnormal to be ignored, but he couldn't find anything wrong. What, is there a problem? No, we'll be entering the city of advancement soon. I'll ask you to come out and prepare first. Oh. No matter what the Flying Squirrel said, Hancock's answer was always just one word. Looking at Hancock with a cold attitude, the Flying Squirrel also felt that he should have been too worried, and the other party had no reason or need to do anything unfavorable to the Navy. The iron gate that stood in front of me, several tens of meters high, slowly struck, and a musty smell filled my nose. In my ears, there was also a faint scream of pain from the pirates. The world behind the gate was like a terrifying abyss from hell. "Quick, fast, Bucky's guy has escaped, hurry up and catch him back." In an instant, the long quiet city of Advancing suddenly became restless. As a department directly under the world government, they never allowed anyone to escape from here. The golden lion that escaped more than a decade ago has always been regarded by them as a shame in their life, and this shame is absolutely not allowed to appear again. However, it is not only the prison guards who experience strong emotional fluctuations, but also a group of pirates on the first floor of the Advancing City LV. They have long been in this dark prison, and even if there is a glimmer of hope, they also want to try to escape. "Where is Bucky? Come and open the door for me, as long as you let me out, I'm willing to help you with anything." Bucky. Bucky. For a moment, Bucky's name spread throughout the first floor of the city, and everyone was looking forward to his arrival. However, so far no one has been able to see Bucky's figure, let alone escape from here. Watching Hooke's anxious figure, Katie's heart was itching uncontrollably, and Pokong was also hungry and thirsty. Bucky's escape marked the beginning of Luffy's prison break, and there were only over 30 hours left until the top of the war. This was not only a prelude to the start of the main war, but also the best and safest way to escape from the Advancing City. However, before that, I still have one thing to do, which is to kill Hooke and complete the task as soon as possible. Chapter 3. Killing Hooke. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Katie didn't realize that her forehead was already covered in fine beads of sweat, which made her nervous. His eyes were fixed on Hooke's back, ready to take out the void at any time. "Damn it, where the hell is Bucky? Hurry up and save me out." Hooke's voice became increasingly irritable, and for so long since Bucky's escape, his vision had never seen Bucky's figure, which made him very irritable. However, Katie was not in a hurry at all. Instead, she created a great opportunity for herself. The more angry Hooke was, the higher his chances of success in killing him with one strike. Waste. When Hooke vented his anger against the prison bars again, Katie took action. The accumulated power exploded completely in a very short moment, and the silver samurai sword suddenly appeared in Katie's hand out of thin air. The people on the side only felt a faint flash suddenly flash in front of them, and even didn't notice Katie's movements at all. "Ah!" A mournful voice woke up the silent crowd, and they were shocked to find that Hooke's chest had been pierced from behind by a knife. It was the young boy who had just arrived that launched the attack, and no one knew how Katie's knife came from. Of course, people did not have the heart to pay attention to this issue. This sudden change left them at a loss, and no one expected that Katie, who was originally submissive, would actually commit murder. Moreover, he still held a knife in his hand, which posed an absolute fatal threat to all of them. Blood flowed incessantly along the corner of Hooke's mouth, and the sharp pain in his chest and blurred vision made him realize clearly that he was really on the verge of exhaustion. Hooke didn't want to believe this result and reached out to grab the air beside him with a pleading expression in his eyes, hoping that someone would come and save him. However, the indifferent gaze from others made him completely despair. "Please, let me go, let me go, let me go." Until the end, he even began to pray to Katie. However, how could Katie possibly let him go? Leaving aside the fact that the completion condition of the system is for herself to kill Hooke, even if it's not herself, she can't let him go. Katie still understands the principle of eliminating weeds. After struggling a few more times, Hooke was completely silent. Task completed, successfully killed Hooke, reward received. Please check. However, Katie's gaze did not relax because the people around her looked at her with a chill in their eyes. Of course, Katie knew they were afraid of the knife in her hand, which was too dangerous for them, who were unarmed. I'm only targeting Hooke. The cold voice echoed incessantly in the small prison cell, coupled with the red dots on Katie's body. At this moment, everyone in the cell was in awe and dared not underestimate this young man. Although he was young, he was definitely a ruthless person. After speaking, Katie put the knife back into its sheath, returned to her original place, and waited quietly for Luffy and Bucky's arrival or the arrival of the guard. Everything that happened here had already been transmitted to the guard through video phone worms, and as for who arrived first in the end, Katie couldn't control it. At the end of the battle, Katie's consciousness infiltrated the system's marketplace interface, her gaze scrolling through powerful skills. Each of the top skills left Katie lingering, as the tree realm descended, the flying thunder god's art, and even the strongest natural thunder fruit and the shockwave fruit possessed by Whitebeard. However, Katie discovered an issue where the price of Ace's burnt fruit in the system mall was actually higher than that of both Xinjiang fruit and Xianglei fruit. Katie thought of a possibility, but it's unclear whether it's right or not. After looking for a long time, Katie finally found the skill she wanted to exchange for, the Navy Type 6 Moonlight Step Beginner Level LV1. When she saw that its listed price was only 700 exchange points, she breathed a sigh of relief. She only had 1,000 exchange points now, but fortunately, the price of Moonlight Steps did not exceed 1,000. As for the skill level, Katie did not demand it anymore. System, redeem skill monthly steps. Redemption successful, 700 redemption points have been deducted, and the host balance still has 300 redemption points. Also, it has been detected that the current task has been completed. Do you need to start a new task now? Open. The appearance of the new task so quickly exceeded Katie's expectations, but she didn't have any indecisive and decisive choice to start it. The rewards brought by completing the task made her irresistible. Although she didn't try, as she successfully redeemed the monthly steps, a surge of information about them flooded her mind. Katie believed she had completely mastered the monthly steps. Detected that the host's current time period is in the early stages of the outbreak of the top war, and specially prepared 2 main missions for the host. The first one is to help Whitebeard turn the tide of the battle and achieve victory in the top war. The specific rewards will be determined based on the host's final completion level. Secondly, since we already know the outcome, why force the host to help the Navy capture the fugitives from the Propulsion City, disrupt Luffy's rescue, and help the Navy achieve greater victory in the top war? The specific rewards should also be determined based on the host's level of completion. Facing the 2 tasks assigned by the system, Katie remained silent. Relatively speaking, the second task was much easier. After all, the victory in the top war belonged to the Navy. With just a little action, she could expand the Navy's victory and easily complete the task to earn rewards. However, if we really do this, Ace and Whitebeard are destined to have only death as the result. Although I am not related to them, if we really do this, I also feel a bit reluctant. After all, when I saw this in the anime before, I shed tears for them and fantasized about how much I hoped to save Ace if possible. With a clang, the tightly closed prison door suddenly opened, but no one chose to escape because dozens of guards were holding guns and staring at them. Prisoner number E50301, put down the knife in your hand and crouch down with your head in your arms. More than 10 guns pointed at Katie together, and even the onlookers felt a wave of tension in the severe situation. However, it is puzzling that even now, despite being held down by more than a dozen guns at the same time, Katie's face showed no signs of nervousness or panic, and even a frivolous smile, as if she was not being pointed at by the gun. Hurry up and get out of the way, I'm in a hurry. Rubber pistol. Just as the situation became increasingly tense, a third party suddenly appeared, and an arm beyond everyone's imagination suddenly appeared, flying all the guards away. Seeing this, Katie also made a decision in her heart. System, I choose Task 1. Chapter 4. Trapped Dragons Leaving the Abyss. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this moment, Katie naturally won't watch helplessly anymore. It's time to leave this small and dilapidated cell. As he stepped out of the cell with both feet, two figures also appeared in front of him, Bucky wearing a prisoner's uniform and Luffy wearing a straw hat. "Hey, Straw Hat Kid, I know your brother's situation. Can you help me open the handcuffs?" A sentence behind him made Luffy, who had been rushing on the road, quickly stop running. "You know about Ace's situation, tell me quickly." Although I don't know who Katie is, Luffy doesn't want to miss any information about Ace. "Wrong, I'm not referring to your older brother Ace, but your second brother Sabo. He's still alive, in the Revolutionary Army, and he's also the Chief of Staff of the Revolutionary Army. Are what you're saying true?" "No, don't lie to me." His body trembled uncontrollably, and his mind was blank. Sabo and Ace were the most important two in his life, holding irreplaceable positions. Unfortunately, Sabo disappeared from the turmoil of the Goya Empire when he was young. He thought Sabo was dead, but Katie's news ignited a glimmer of hope in Luffy's heart, and he couldn't help but confirm with Katie. "It's true, but his head was severely hit and he had some memory problems, unable to remember past events clearly." The benefits brought by the identity of a traveler easily earned Katie the trust of Luffy. Sabo was indeed alive and saved by Luffy's father. "Sabo is still alive, Sabo is still alive. I must rescue Ace and tell him this news. Bucky, quickly loosen his handcuffs and let's go save Ace together." "Hey, we don't even know if what he said is true or false. The Chief of Staff of the Revolutionary Army, that's the second in command of the Revolutionary Army. Is your second brother so powerful?" "My father is the leader of the Revolutionary Army. Do you think my second brother is powerful?" I was most afraid of the sudden quietness in the air. After Luffy finished speaking about his father's identity, the scene was once eerie and quiet. Everyone's gaze at Luffy changed, and even more so, their jaw was shocked. "Okay, although I'm also surprised, could you please open my handcuffs first?" "Okay, I'll open it for you." Bucky's head was still stuck at the moment when Luffy revealed his father's identity. Upon hearing Katie's request, his conditioned reflex helped Katie unlock the handcuffs on her hands. Looking at Bucky with a blank mind, Katie's eyes flashed with an unusual light, as she had acquired a remarkable skill from him. Mastery level RIP LV7, and she had only obtained Master level Navy 6 shaving LV5 from Luffy. Although her level was higher, her effect and potential were much worse. The exchange points required for shaving at the same level in the system mall are less than half of the tearing skill, and the difference between them is self-evident. Bucky is a person with the ability to split fruits, and the fruit effect can split his body into several parts. Currently, he is immune to all slashes. After all, he is even immune to the slashes of the world's largest swordsman, Eagle Eye. The ability to tear seems a bit strange. The direct effect of splitting the fruit is only on the individual's body and cannot have an external impact. However, the ability to tear can cause direct damage to the outside world. Upon careful consideration, Katie only thought of one possibility. Bucky's fruit power had awakened. The fruit ability of the Superman series will only have a direct impact on external things after the fruit awakens. If Bucky really awakens the fruit, it is natural to have the tearing skill. Although as of his time traveling here, Bucky has always been humorous and responsible in Oda's writing, two things alone are enough to prove Bucky's uniqueness. Firstly, he worked as an intern on the pirate ship Roger with the red-haired Shanks. Second, Bucky was the first supporting role to appear and has always had a plot since. He appeared earlier than Hawkeye and had more scenes. Katie believes that Bucky definitely hides his strength, but why he hides himself is unclear. Perhaps it's because he doesn't want to be eye-catching, or because Roger assigned him a task, or something else. My name is Luffy, and I am the man who wants to become the One Piece King. This is Bucky. Only when I heard Luffy's self-introduction did I truly understand how brave he was. After all, everyone went out to sea to pursue the One Piece treasure left by Roger. Strictly speaking, this sentence can be considered as the declaration of war for the vast majority of pirates. I'm Katie. Yoxie, let's go save Ace together. With an extra partner, Luffy naturally felt happy and shouted to go and save Ace. Wait a moment, I don't plan to go with you. Why? Isn't it safer for everyone to go together? Katie's answer surprised Luffy, but he didn't expect Katie to refuse. Watching Luffy's puzzled expression, Katie was also convinced. When watching the anime, she felt that Bucky had been messed up by Luffy's arrogance. After experiencing it firsthand, she felt even more pitiful for Bucky, who was dragged from the first underground floor to the 5th underground floor. While everyone can take care of each other together, the exposure at the same time is also greater, which is too easy to attract the guards' attention. It's better to split the army into 2 routes, which reduces the risk of exposure and increases the chance of rescuing Ace. Moreover, I know there's no problem going down alone. Wow, Katie is so smart. Let's do as you say. Bucky and I will take a step first. Speaking without giving Bucky any room to refuse, holding onto his body was like rushing forward all the way. Wait a minute, why aren't you with Katie? I'm fine alone. Bucky's scream spread further and further until they finally disappeared without a trace, while Katie was also preparing to start her own plan. The reason why I didn't choose to be with Luffy is that it's easy to expose, but it's not the biggest reason. What I need most now is strength. Compared to the beginning, although my current strength has increased, it is still seriously insufficient compared to the enemies I will encounter later, and even a cannon fodder-like existence. However, the existence of the system makes Advancing City a golden hill to be developed for Katie. With the help of the system, one can easily obtain corresponding abilities from others, which means that as many prisoners as one advances through the city gate, one has as many opportunities to acquire abilities. Although there may be repetition, everything is not a problem in the face of a large base. Moreover, while continuously moving downwards, one can also complete the tasks released by the system. When the main task is determined, the system also provides the following small tasks. Arriving at the 6th underground level, task reward. 50,000 exchange points, 7 skill points. In an instant, Katie was shocked by the exorbitant reward for the mission. Compared to the reward given for the first kill mission, it was a drop in the bucket. However, the difficulty of this mission was not average. Chapter 5. Go to the underground 2nd floor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as Katie was thinking about how to infiltrate the underground 6th floor, a large shadow suddenly fell over her head, and dangerous signals came from behind. The rapid retreat of the conditioned reflex widens the distance from the enemy, and the body follows the rotation to face the enemy head-on. At the same time, the movement of the hand is also not slow at all, quickly taking out the broken air in the hand and placing the crossbar in front of the chest. As soon as she finished all these attacks, a heavy iron axe landed directly on Katie's chest-piercing blade, and the powerful force continued to pass along the blade. Katie felt a tingling sensation in her tiger's mouth, almost unable to grasp the knife in her hand. At this moment, Katie was able to see clearly who was attacking her. It was the prison guard on the underground level, the blue chimpanzee, who even possessed the ability to kill sea kings. No wonder its power was so strong. Congratulations to the host for obtaining rookie-level stamina LV9. Just as Katie was shocked by the powerful power of the chimpanzee, the system's prompt sound also arrived late. At the same time, a strong heat flow emerged from her body. With a little force, Katie noticed the difference in her body. Her current strength was more than twice that of before. However, Katie was not happy. Although her physique had greatly improved, she was still at the rookie level. This title brought Katie 10,000 critical damage points. Roar! Katie's disregard made the blue gorilla very angry, roaring and charging towards Katie again. Since you want to die so badly, then I'll fulfill you. Tear apart the half moon. A crescent-shaped sword chi instantly formed, swiftly slashing towards the incoming enemy. Faced with Katie's slash, the blue chimpanzee naturally wouldn't sit idly by and wield its iron axe, which is the sword energy that cuts towards Katie. Hee, that kid is so miserable. He dares to attack the blue gorilla. He's afraid he'll be dismembered soon. In the nearby cell, the sound of prisoners gloating could be heard, and they were all envious and jealous of Katie. Now that they saw him being targeted by a blue gorilla, they couldn't help but mock him. However, the next scene exceeded their imagination. At the moment of contact between the iron axe and the sword strike, a crack appeared on the surface of the iron axe that almost penetrated the entire iron axe. The next second, a clicking sound came, and the iron axe completely shattered, but the sword energy continued to charge towards the blue gorilla with undiminished momentum. A crimson stream of blood surged up, and the robust body of the blue gorilla collapsed with a thud. The result in front of them shocked everyone who saw it. They never expected that the young man, who was also a prisoner on the underground level, had the ability to kill the blue gorilla alone. As a prison guard on this level, the blue gorilla naturally had overwhelming power, but even so, it was still instantly killed by someone. No one could have predicted this result before the war began. Don't talk about them, even Katie herself didn't expect to be so powerful. She just had a sudden idea to combine her tearing skill with sword half-moon slash, hoping to see what changes would happen, but she didn't expect the effect to be so good that she could instantly kill the blue ape. "Boss, please let me out." The person who reacts quickly starts pleading with Katie, hoping to leave this hellish place. However, how could Katie care about these people? She heard what they had just said clearly, cursing herself 1 second before and wanting to save them the next. Is that possible? Turning around, Katie picked up a guard who had fallen unconscious on the ground. She turned around and left gracefully, waving her hand without taking away a cloud, leaving behind a group of howling wolves behind. In a dark corner, Katie changed into the clothes on the guard's body, and then continued to move. With this skin bag, it was much easier to move on her own, at least not always being asked to rescue them, and the risk of exposure was much smaller. Quickly, Katie walked through the underground level, but the result was not very good. She only acquired 2 slightly useful skills, the entry-level swordsmanship basic LV7 and the entry-level swordsmanship skill cross/LV5. To be precise, the former was not even considered a skill, but rather an understanding and use of swordsmanship. After all, the pirates detained here generally offer bounties ranging from 1 to 20 million belly, which means that such a small gain in strength among the 4 seas is also possible. Feeling a slightly quiet underground prison, it was obvious that Luffy had already broken into the 2nd or 3rd underground floor, otherwise it would never have been so quiet. It seems that this layer is no longer useful to me, it's time to continue moving forward. In my memory, Luffy and Bucky arrived at the 2nd underground level and fell through the central passage of the Red Lotus Hell. However, Katie didn't know where the Red Lotus Hell was, as the anime didn't provide specific directions and routes. However, Katie can use her voice to locate the location of the Red Lotus Hell. After all, the prisoners there have to endure the pain of thorns and the screams are definitely loud enough. Moreover, Katie has been wandering around the underground level for a whole circle, and can roughly determine where the Red Lotus Hell is. Not long after, a red forest appeared in Katie's view, and the air was filled with an indelible smell of blood. The forest here is not a real forest, everything in the naked eye is like sharp thorns, tearing apart everyone in the forest. Seeing this, Katie is grateful that she chose the moon step skill, otherwise this level would have been really difficult. Seeing no one around, Katie no longer hesitated and acted decisively. Her feet stepped out several times in a very short time, and under the strong reaction, her body successfully flew into the sky. The air was passing by on both sides of her body, and this feeling was really wonderful. Katie couldn't even think of any words to describe the feeling at this moment. While Katie enjoyed the pleasure of flying, everyone on the ground also discovered her presence. However, the uniform he wore as a guard helped Katie confuse people's eyes, but ultimately he couldn't hide it from everyone. The first layer of guards are just a few people, and everyone is familiar with each other. They have not heard of anyone learning the moonwalk, and even if someone does learn it, there is no need to cross the Red Lotus Hell like this. The guards will wear specialized equipment to enter the Red Lotus Hell, and their flight direction is not very correct. It is obvious that it is the direction of the previous prisoner's escape, which makes it seem strange. Hey, the person flying in the sky, which area are you in charge of? Why are you here? Come down quickly. Upon hearing these words, Katie knew she had already been exposed, but it didn't matter anymore. She had already seen the pitch-black hole in the middle leading to the second underground floor. At this distance, the ground guards had no ability to harm her, so there was no need to conceal anything. Shoot! The guard below clearly realized something was wrong and decisively issued the shooting order. However, dozens of people shot together and fired nearly 100 bullets, but none of them hit the mark. Captain, it's not possible. This distance is too far, our bullets can't even reach him. Faced with this result, the captain of the guard was also filled with helplessness. It was obvious that the enemy's strength was not something that he and his team could handle. Find out who this person is for me. Why are we wearing the clothes of our guards? Is it because internal personnel defected or someone stole the clothes and pretended to replace us? The captain of the guard also immediately reacted and did what he could. Chapter 6. Magellan's Round Trip. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the other hand, the elevator, which had been continuously descending for a long time, finally came to a stop at a certain moment. When the elevator door opened, a tense and oppressive atmosphere rushed towards her. Even the Empress Hancock, who was the king of 7 martial seas, couldn't help but frown. The feeling here was very bad for her. Moreover, what surprised her even more was that people's perception of the City of Advancement had always been wrong. There was not only a 5-story prison here, but also a 6-story. Is that Fire Fist Ace on this level? Although there was speculation, Hancock couldn't help but confirm again. Yes, he's right ahead. I'll take you there right away. After speaking, Magellan was the first to set off and lead the way, while Hancock, who received a positive answer, couldn't help but worry about Luffy. Ace's position was even deeper and more dangerous than imagined. It's here. Just as Hancock was worried about Luffy, the advancing team suddenly stopped without warning. At this moment, Hancock noticed a special prison next to him that was holding 2 prisoners. Glancing inside, I instantly recognized their identities. The young man with black hair and a bare upper body is undoubtedly Luffy's brother, Fire Fist Ace. However, the presence of the other person came as a surprise to Hancock. With deep blue skin and a robust body, and obvious fish gills on his shoulders, Hancock had only one person in his mind who could match all these characteristics. The Fish Man, who had the same status as himself and was also a member of the 7 martial seas under the king, was very ordinary. While Hancock was looking at them, Shirhei and Ace were also looking at Hancock, not understanding what she was doing here at this moment. Especially for Shirping, a bad feeling surged in his heart. Does Hancock's appearance mean the participation of 7 martial seas? This will increase the pressure that Dad will face a lot, and he frowns tightly, feeling very bad. His Highness Hancock, this is the Fire Fist Ace you want to see. To be honest, I really don't understand what he has worth your personal visit to. Even now, Magellan still doesn't understand why Hancock's request would be to come and push the city to take a look at Fire Fist Ace, which is truly unique compared to the conditions of other 7 martial seas. I just want to see what kind of person can cause such turbulence. What, there's a problem. No, no. Even though Magellan, as the strongest man in Advancing City, couldn't handle Hancock's indifference for a while. He secretly thought to himself that the title of Empress was indeed not for nothing. Hey, that woman seems to be the Empress Hancock. Is it really fake? How could she be here? No, that person really seems to be. Hello, come to me, beautiful woman. I will treat you very gently and gently. Hurry up. Hancock, look over here, look over here. When people saw that the person who came was really Hancock, the entire underground 6 floors were boiling, and every person trapped here was in despair. God knew what the ending would be for them. In this absolutely oppressive atmosphere, Hancock's arrival made them crave, even if they knew it would anger Magellan. Silence. Magellan certainly wouldn't let it go, and angry voices spread throughout the entire underground 6 floors. However, the effect was minimal. Not only did it not suppress the commotion of the prisoners, but it was also insulted by them. Why don't you go squat in the pit and pull yourself in your pants, Magellan? That's why you don't need to. Magellan. Magellan. The insults from the prisoners completely angered Magellan, and veins on his forehead erupted one after another. Those familiar with him knew that this was an expression of extreme anger about to erupt, and couldn't help but retreat to the side, afraid to approach him at this moment. Ignoring discipline and orders. As the director of the promotion city, I have the right to execute you on the spot. Poisonous dragon. As the words fell, Magellan's body was completely covered with a layer of purple and viscous liquid, and then several purple liquid faucets separated from behind, instantly rushing towards the people who had been shouting the most loudly just now. No, don't do it. Magellan, this bastard is really angry. For a moment, everyone became anxious and uneasy, especially the few guys who were targeted by Magellan's venomous dragon. They were so desperate that they cried out for Magellan's forgiveness, and even knelt down directly hoping that Magellan would let them go. However, at this moment, how could Magellan possibly stop? The poison dragon's attack not only did not weaken but also became increasingly rapid, and the next moment it fell on the target. For a moment, a mournful howl replaced the original noise, and the criminals avoided the targets attacked by the poisonous dragons from afar. As a poison fruit ability, Magellan's all attacks came with powerful toxic effects. Anyone who touched the ending just had to die. No one was a fool and naturally had to avoid them from afar. Taking advantage of the chaos in the situation, Hancock quickly approached the cell, lips parted, and silently said a word to Ace. A thunderbolt echoed in Ace's mind, and he felt that he was not doing well. The news brought by Hancock left him at a loss, and he never expected it to be like this. That bastard, Luffy, actually broke into the advancing city to save himself. For a moment, a mixture of complex emotions such as regret, worry, fear, but also satisfaction filled Ace's chest. At this moment, he didn't know what to react to. Staying next to Ace, Sherping quickly noticed his abnormality. The expression on his face was too abnormal. Although he didn't know what Hancock had said, he couldn't help but worry about him. All right, Your Highness Hancock, if you have anything to do, just do it. I have already told them to shut up. At this moment, Magellan had finished dealing with the prison riot and turned to Hancock, saying. However, to Magellan's surprise, Hancock turned around and left without any intention of doing anything. I have seen people before, take me away. I don't want to stay here for another second, the environment here is too bad. With a questioning gaze, he looked at the flying squirrels on the side and saw the same confusion in their eyes. Although they felt strange in their hearts, they came all the way but didn't do anything. They just glanced at her, but couldn't really do anything to her. After all, she was an important guest of the Navy headquarters and was well received. After hesitating for a moment, he followed Hancock's instructions and returned to the upper level to leave here. Magellan was confident that Ace would not make any mistakes right under his nose while locked here. Since that's the case, then let's go back. The group came and went quickly, and the total time spent on the 6th floor did not exceed half a minute. However, it was this short half-minute that made Ace's heart, which had previously been silent to the bottom, beat again. Mr. Ace, what did Hancock tell you? It wasn't until everyone left that I dared to ask Ace what exactly happened. My younger brother Luffy broke into here to save me. Chapter 7. Angry Magellan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. How could that be? Why didn't you notify me before the situation became serious? Magellan, who had just returned to the 4th level of the scorching hell, roared at the people around him. Just as he left, several escaped prisoners appeared, and they have not been caught yet. It's not because you only focused on looking at Hancock and ignored the reports of your subordinates, and the responsibility lies with you. Don't step down and give me the position of director. Originally, it was a quiet complaint, but as he spoke, he became more and more enthusiastic and directly expressed everything he had in mind. As soon as he finished speaking, he realized something. Hannibal looked nervously at Magellan on the side. What are you saying? It's all my fault. Without giving Hannibal any room for further explanation, he punched him in the head. Send me an order, hand over the 2nd underground level to Surrounds and the Blue Ape, and concentrate all the remaining troops of the advancing city on the 4th level. Sati, you lead the prison guards to guard the passage to the 5th underground floor, while Hannibal, you lead the other guards to guard the passage to the 3rd underground floor. This time, make sure to keep the Straw Hat Boys on this level. Yes, Director. Just as everyone turned around to prepare for action, Hannibal suddenly thought of something and turned around to say. Director, the guards on the basement level have received news that besides the clown Bucky, there is also a prisoner named Katie who has escaped. Strangely, he did not choose to escape outside, but instead chose to infiltrate a deeper underground 2nd level. However, the problem is that this person did not act with the Straw Hat Boy, nor did he notice any previous contact with Ace. Moreover, he was wearing guard clothes, so he has no idea of his location so far. Another point is that the report specifically states that this person is in control of the lunar steps in the Navy's Type 6. Hannibal reported all the information about Katie in one breath. How could a prisoner on the basement possibly master the Navy's Type 6? How did you check before being imprisoned? Why aren't prisoners like this locked up on the 3rd floor underground? In the face of Magellan's anger, only Hannibal can say something. Director, this is not everyone's fault. It was an intelligence error. Katie's current bounty is only 1 million Bailey, which has just reached the minimum standard for our advancing city. Who knew this guy was hiding so deep that it was only revealed now? Hannibal's words made Magellan, who was originally angry, instantly calm down. The unknown is often the most terrifying, and Katie's style of behavior is clearly different from that of the Straw Hat Kid. Be patient and cautious, like a venomous snake hiding in the grass, seemingly invisible but possessing the most deadly threat. Notify Surrounds to search for the culprit Katie while controlling the underground 2nd floor riot. Once discovered, notify me immediately and I will personally send him to hell. Yes. At this moment, anyone with a longer mind can feel the murderous intent emanating from Magellan's body, and no one dares to respond vaguely. Azu. Who is speaking ill of me behind my back? It's really unlucky. Feeling the extreme heat and dryness around her, Katie didn't want to stay here for another second, but she still had one of her most important goals to achieve. Half an hour ago, I had just arrived at the hunger level on the 3rd underground level from the beast level on the 2nd underground level. I unknowingly escaped Surrounds' encirclement. However, even if Katie wandered through these 2 levels completely, she did not achieve the expected effect and only obtained 3 relatively useful skills. Proficient level Swordsmanship Foundation LV3, Proficient in level Physical Skills LV5, and Proficient Swordsmanship Skill Aurora/LV7. To be honest, these have greatly improved Katie's strength. After all, she used to be a complete outsider in the field of swordsmanship, and although she can't be considered a master of swordsmanship now, she still has a good demeanor when it comes to playing swordsmanship. However, putting such strength at the top of the war is only a slightly stronger cannon fodder, and it has no qualification to influence the outcome of the war, let alone complete the tasks released by the system. At present, the most important thing I need to improve is my physical strength. The rookie-level stamina LV9 obtained from the blue chimpanzee is not enough to support me in long-term combat. When I crossed the Red Lotus Hell with a moonwalk and arrived at the underground second floor, I almost wasted myself. My physical strength has become a major weakness. In order to make up for this, Katie came up with a special creature that advanced into the city, the prison guard beast, which was half human and half beast but had extremely strong physical fitness. According to the introduction of the original 7 Marshall C. Proctor, this prison guard beast is actually an awakener of animal abilities, and its physical fitness is definitely stronger. Currently, as long as it obtains the same physical fitness as its shortcomings will no longer exist. Coincidentally, according to the development of the plot, at this point, one of the prison guard beasts named Minotaurus was on the 3rd floor and was knocked unconscious by Luffy's beating. In this way, I have the hope to make up for my shortcomings before entering the 4th underground level. After all, Luffy will encounter Magellan on the 4th underground level. If I am not lucky enough to encounter Magellan, although a stronger body cannot guarantee victory, I can struggle for a while longer. But if one is lucky enough not to encounter Magellan, the enhanced physical fitness will not be useless and can always help oneself. With a vague impression, Katie finally arrived at the location where Luffy, Bucky and the others had left the underground 3rd floor, where there was a huge ventilation opening and even traces of their battle around. To Katie's peace of mind, she saw at the end of her line of sight the target of this trip, a prison guard beast that had fainted in the ruins, with its upper body resembling a cow and its lower body resembling a normal human. As Katie approached the other person step by step, her small heart kept pounding incessantly, afraid of gaining any messy abilities from it. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the mysterious level stamina LV5. Before this, Katie had never thought that an electronic synthesized sound would sound so beautiful. The feeling of achieving her dream was simply not too beautiful, as her mysterious physique directly surpassed the yellow level above the rookie level. The heat flowing out of the body is several times stronger than the previous one, and even with a fist clenching, the feeling of being able to burst out with a single punch, even if there is a mountain blocking in front of me. Click, just as Katie was overjoyed, a faint voice suddenly came from her ear. In the next moment, Katie's attention was placed on Minotaurus in the ruins. Although she did not awaken her aura of dominance, she instinctively felt a strong breath of life slowly awakening. Moreover, she had a strong hostility towards herself. It's impossible to leave safely, the other party has already locked themselves in. It looks like there's only one battle left. The calm gaze instantly became fiery, and apart from Hooke's encounter, I had a real battle with the prison guard Blue Ape. But the battle ended too quickly, and I didn't experience anything at all. The next thing I had to face was a life and death battle after another. Since the guy in front of me didn't plan to let me go like this, I happened to use it to practice my skills. Moo. In the next moment, Minotaur's body stood upright, with crimson eyes fixed on Katie and never leaving. Chapter 8. The Battle of Minotaurus. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The frenzied Minotaurus had no hesitation at all, and he aimed at Katie and started directly. The previous moment was still a few tens of meters away, but the next moment came closer. The huge body cast a large shadow that completely covered Katie's body, and the giant wolf-tooth stick held in her right hand was lifted high, carrying the strong wind and fiercely smashing at Katie. However, facing the rapid attack of the wolf-tooth stick, Katie grinned and the broken hole in her hand was instantly unsheathed. Just before the wolf-tooth stick was about to land on her body, she stood in front of her and intercepted Minotaur's powerful and heavy blow. However, the ground beneath their feet was not so lucky, with black cracks cracking and extending several meters before stopping. To Katie's satisfaction, even in the face of such a powerful impact, she didn't feel any discomfort. If it had been before, Katie would never have dared to do so much. She had already used the 6 styles shaving to avoid it, and all of this was thanks to the mysterious physique obtained from Minotaur. Hee, it's my turn now. Get out of here. With just one strike, Katie tested the strength of herself and the opponent, and her hand was not ambiguous. With Katie's roar, a powerful force erupted in an instant, forcing Minotaur back directly. Cross cut and tear. In the blink of an eye, Katie quickly swung out two powerful sword energies that enhanced the tearing effect. Seemingly sensing a signal of danger, the furious Minotaur rationally chose to defend and placed an iron wolf-toothed stick across his chest to receive Katie's blow. With a clang, the massive iron wolf-tooth stick shattered into several pieces, and Minotaurus stared at the remaining piece of iron stick in his hand. He never expected that this weapon that had been with him for many years would be destroyed by the opponent's blow. Didn't anyone tell you not to be distracted during battles? In an instant, Minotaurus's body tightened tightly, with his hair standing on end. His body instinctively dodged to the side, and a crescent-shaped arc slashed past, causing a series of blood to surge high. The painful nerves completely awakened Minotaurus, and his eyes were once again focused on Katie. It was not until this moment that he truly realized the strength of the person in front of him, and the feeling he felt was no weaker than that of the intruder who had knocked him unconscious just now. Moo, moo. Directly throwing away the broken wolf-tooth stick in his hand, his eyes stared fiercely at Katie. His muscles burst out completely in an instant, and his once muscular body became even more robust, like a mountain of flesh piled up with muscles. His crimson eyes contained endless madness and irritability. Faced with Minotaur's all-out efforts, Katie silently put away the broken air in her hand. Xiaonyo, come and fight. Katie's provocation completely angered Minotaur, and her hind hooves rubbed against the ground, causing her body to completely disappear in the next moment. Invisible, facing such an opponent for the first time, Katie's naked eyes couldn't even detect their movements in the first place. However, the body instinctively gives out movements, squatting down while the arm is blocking the right side of the head. Having just finished all of this, the sky above was shrouded in a huge shadow, and Minotaur's fist, carrying a deadly force, fiercely struck Katie's arm. In the face of powerful force, even though Katie's body has reached the mysterious level, she is still blasted far away. After all, Katie's physical fitness is just like the opponent's, difficult to withstand Minotaur's full blow. The intense pain came from her arm, just for a moment. Katie felt that her arm was almost broken, but there was no time for her to sigh. In the depths of the smoke, a faint black shadow could be seen approaching rapidly, undoubtedly Minotaur. The momentary carelessness is that even if the opponent is a powerful prison guard beast, they cannot forgive being beaten and thrown away. Damn it, get out of here. The muscles of the whole body burst out, and all the strength was concentrated on the right fist in an instant. The sleeve on the arm exploded into strips of cloth. The next second, the two fists with a huge gap collided fiercely. Breaking and shattering, the originally turbulent air becomes increasingly turbulent and raging, with streams of air sweeping through everything like sharp and fierce storm blades. The solid ground is also covered with fine cracks like spider webs. However, this was just the beginning, and the two figures that remained in place disappeared without a trace in an instant, as if they had never appeared before. However, the explosion in the next moment proved that the two did not really leave, they were just engaged in a more intense fight. The violent airflow is like the sea surface when a storm approaches, wantonly destroying everything around, walls, ground, and so on. The figures of the two became even more blurry. One moment they were still here, and the next moment they ran dozens of meters away, some of which were just black shadows that were blurry to the extreme. Feeling the tingling sensation brought by the collision, Katie not only did not feel tired and painful, but also became increasingly excited. The urban life surrounded by the Steel City had long made Katie feel exhausted, not only physically but also mentally. Perhaps it was the remaining wildness or a childhood martial arts dream. In short, at this moment, Katie's body was like a volcano about to erupt, which could not be suppressed at all. However, for Minotaurus, Katie's strength completely exceeded his expectations. Although it seemed like the two sides were fighting back and forth, he never forgot the enemy's swordsmanship. With just one strike, he cut off the iron wolf tooth club. If that kind of slash hit him, he would be seriously injured even if he didn't die. It's not surprising that a swordsman who voluntarily gave up swordsmanship can still fight with his bare hands. Moreover, what is even more difficult for Minotaur to accept is that compared to the beginning of the battle, the enemy's strength is clearly constantly improving. This change is not unilateral, but in all aspects, such as reaction, attack, body coordination, etc. Minotaur even has the illusion that he has become a companion for the enemy in front of him. Nah, how much you look down on me. I've been distracted again. Since that's the case, the next move is to solve you. Katie's voice completely angered Minotaur. Although it admitted that it could not defeat Katie, the other party dared to threaten a solution that it would not allow. Furious, he rushed towards Katie, eager to tear him to pieces. Good time. Avoiding neither, they rushed towards Minotaur's figurehead. On. The two fists collided like comets, causing even more severe damage than before. The corners of his mouth slowly curled up, although the tiger's mouth was still slightly painful. Minotaurus couldn't help but mock Katie. After a blow, he stood steadily and was not knocked down by him. Hee 3, 2, 1, pour. Chapter 9 Magellan's Attack. Luffy captured. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the moment Katie's voice fell, a powerful and strange force suddenly appeared. The contemptuous and mocking smile froze on Minotaur's face as if pressing the pause button. The next second, the painful expression replaced the original contempt and ridicule, and the whole face instantly became terrifying and ferocious. The upright body stepped back step by step, starting from the right arm, blood rushed out one after another, countless wounds spread throughout the body, and the whole body seemed to be hit by countless sword energies in an instant. With a puzzled yet incredulous gaze, Minotaurus once again lost his self-awareness and fainted. Satisfied as Minotaurus lay on the ground, this strike contained not only all of his own strength but also the tearing ability that was unleashed to the extreme. The competition of strength is only superficial, and Katie's trump card has always been a tearing ability hidden behind her, and the final result did not disappoint her. In an instant, she defeated Minotaurus, who has the same physical fitness. However, as she watched Minotaurus collapse to the ground, Katie thought of many things. What kind of calculations would the conspirators hidden behind the scenes have if a character like Bucky had such formidable strength? Upon reflection, the world of pirates I see is only the most superficial, and the true state of this world is like the scene before me, hidden in layers of mist. I can't manage so much anymore. Improving one's own strength is the most important thing, otherwise what can happen if you know everything? Looking down along the ventilation opening, a sense of unease rushed in. Although I haven't yet mastered the dominance of seeing, hearing, and looking at the time, Luffy should have already faced Magellan head-on. The current 4 underground floors are also very dangerous for oneself, and even a slight negligence can result in losing one's life. But don't let me down. With a leap, Katie jumped into the ventilation duct and charged towards the underground 4 levels with her feet on the moon. There was a natural danger, but the opportunity was also unprecedented. As long as one can successfully infiltrate the underground 6 levels, with the help of the system, one's strength will quickly reach the level of an imperial deputy, and then truly have the ability to change the outcome of the war. Although the final task reward is still unknown, Katie believes it will definitely not be bad. After all, just infiltrating the underground 6 levels has 7 skill points and 50,000 exchange points. In this way, one's own strength can be further enhanced, and at that time, one can definitely stand firm on the sea without any reason not to continue. Since you want these hands, what if I give them to you? Jet pistol. The whole person was completely covered by the smoke emanating from their body, and as the sound ended, the speed of the right fist's fierce bombardment was completely unclear. It's useless. You still don't understand now. No one dares to touch my body. You're the same. However, in the next moment, the excruciating pain left Magellan's brain blank and bewildered. How could it be that he was hit by the opponent's fist? How dare he? But when he saw the purple liquid on the opponent's fist with his own eyes, Magellan fell silent and couldn't remember how many years no one had done this. Through the eyes of the Straw Hat Boy, Magellan could only see firmness from the depths of his soul. I have to say, your firmness is truly beyond my imagination. But do you really think you can survive after being contaminated with my body's venom? All you've done is just a futile struggle. Ace, you can't save it, even you have to stay here. As Magellan spoke, Luffy felt the invasion of the venom, as if his palm had been pierced by countless steel needles. The pain that connected his fingers to his heart made Luffy kneel uncontrollably. Damn it, give me Ace back quickly. Even so, Luffy's mind was full of only Ace's safety, completely ignoring Magellan's words. Since that's the case, then you can stay here. Poisonous Dragon. The purple and sticky giant dragon charged straight towards the road. Although surprised by Luffy's determination, Magellan is well aware of his responsibilities and will not show mercy. Watching the poisonous dragon attack helplessly, although Luffy had the intention to hide, he was powerless. The venom on his hands had already infected his entire body, making him powerless to hide. The next second, Magellan's venom completely enveloped Luffy's entire body, and the extreme pain of his nerves being infected made Luffy scream uncontrollably. Ah ah. That feeling was like 10,000 ants biting inside their bodies, and the pain reached the deepest part of their souls. Taking a glance at Luffy's condition, Magellan knew that the Straw Hat Boy had come to an end. You can stay here and accompany your brother. Then he turned around and prepared to leave. However, Magellan, who had just turned around, was interrupted by a trembling voice. Give me Ace back. Turning around, I found that the Straw Hat Boy, who had been lying in the venom, had stood up again at some point. Although his body was still trembling, he did not fall down. Wrinkled, Magellan had to admit that he did underestimate the enemy's strength. From the beginning of the battle until now, the opponent's body has inhaled too much poison, combined to even cause hundreds of deaths. However, the little boy in the straw hat in front of him is unexpectedly strong, able to maintain standing. You're really looking for death. Poisonous Dragon. This time, Magellan was clearly determined and unleashed 5 poisonous dragons in a row to attack Luffy. 3rd level. Giant's Fist. Similarly, even if his body was already exhausted, it did not mean that Luffy was about to give up. His right fist instantly became as big as a giant's fist, and Luffy swung it fiercely towards Magellan. 2 figures crossed and missed each other. In the next moment, Luffy's body finally collapsed again, and not only that, but he also stopped struggling and fell to the ground motionless. Magellan remained silent for 2 seconds as he watched the Straw Hat Boy fall to the ground. Someone imprisoned the Straw Hat Boy on the 5th underground floor, waiting for trial. Yes, Director. Looking at the quiet underground 4 floors, Magellan suddenly felt relieved and finally caught the troublemaker in the straw hat, leaving the remaining few people without any worries. Report to the Director, the big deal is not good. Just as Magellan had just relaxed, the voice of his subordinates came from afar. So what's going on? What kind of panic is it? Your Excellency, the fugitive Katie from the underground level has broken through the defenses of Lord Sati and the prison guard beast and entered the 5th underground level. What are you saying? How could it be possible? Although he knew that his subordinates wouldn't deceive him in this matter, Magellan still couldn't believe it. The strength of Katie and her team goes without saying. Previous intelligence also showed that Katie couldn't have arrived so quickly on the 2nd underground floor and even broke through the defense line to reach the 5th underground floor. Chapter 10. Battle of Sati. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Go back 20 minutes in time. These 4 underground floors really deserve to be called the scorching layer, it's really hot enough. Just as she arrived at the fourth underground floor, a heat wave hit her face, and Katie felt like she was almost roasted. However, the residual purple liquid in the field of vision made Katie instantly nervous, and it was obvious that Luffy had already engaged with Magellan by this time. His eyes flickered and he quickly hid to avoid the sight of others. Looking around, referring to the vague impression in her memory, Katie identified the general direction leading to the underground fifth floor, and immediately rushed all the way to the underground fifth floor. Although prisoners imprisoned on the fourth floor underground can improve themselves a lot, time does not allow it. Moreover, as long as they can successfully break into the sixth floor underground, this loss is not worth much. The battle between Magellan and Luffy will not last too long. As long as their battle ends, the entire advancing city will be under Magellan's control again, and it will only be a matter of time before they are caught. Only now is the best time to continue breaking through. Watching the four figures blocking the entrance of the passage, Katie's fists tightened and loosened again and again. To be honest, facing such a lineup of 3 prison guard beasts and 1 prison guard Captain Sati, I am not entirely confident in defeating them. However, the passage of time does not allow one to hesitate. Life depends entirely on acting skills, fight hard. After speaking, he hurriedly rushed towards Sati not far away. Lord Sati, no, it's not good. The fugitive clown Bucky and Mr. 3 from the original Baroque Society have released most of the prisoners on this level. All fugitives are attacking the passage to the underground third floor defended by Lord Hannibal, and Lord will not be able to hold on anymore. What are you talking about? Where did they get the keys? As soon as Sati finished speaking, she realized that the fugitive named Mr. 3 was the candleman who had swallowed the candlestick fruit and could make keys out of thin air. Realizing the seriousness of the problem, Sati hastily arranged it. Koala, take the 2 of them to Hannibal's place to help. Leave this to me, go. Roar. After responding, Koala rushed to Hannibal's defense area with 2 other prison guards, Rhinoceros and Zebra. Watching the figure of the prison guard beast disappear, Sati breathed a sigh of relief. With their help, Hannibal must have been able to block the attack of the fugitives. However, looking at the subordinates who were spreading the news in front of her, Sati always felt that something was wrong. A pair of eyes stared at Katie and finally realized something was wrong. The uniform he was wearing was the clothes of the underground guards, but now there are no personnel on the entire 4 underground floors. It is obvious that the person in front of me is a fake. Why, I'm not used to living in the basement cell. Should I stay here and see? Katie. At this moment, Sati's eyes were filled with a chilling sensation. Oh, how did you recognize me? With a raised eyebrow, she didn't expect it to be exposed so quickly. Katie thought she didn't show any flaws and couldn't figure out where the problem was. Don't wander around on the 4th floor while wearing clothes from the 1st floor underground, don't you think it's foolish? Ah, so that's it. It seems we need to pay attention next time. With a slap on her head, Katie immediately realized that it was due to this skin bag, but it didn't matter anymore. Her goal had been achieved, and she successfully managed to fend off 3 prison guard beasts. The next thing became much simpler. Cluck, it's interesting. Do you still think you'll have another time? Do you think you can run away even though it's all in my hands? Previously, it was our negligence that locked you up on the underground level. This time, we will lock you up in this scorching hell, so that you can experience the feeling of being burned down by karmic fire. Hee hee. With a contemptuous smile, Sati, who could lead the prison guard beasts, naturally wouldn't be too weak, but she was no longer a mere ant to be slaughtered. If you want to catch me back, it depends on whether you have the ability. With a cold gaze, I didn't have much time. The battle in front of me not only required victory, but also a swift victory with thunderous force. Obtain Master Level Body Art LV3. At the moment when Katie was about to take action, the electronic prompt sound of the system rang out in her heart without any warning. This sudden change made Katie momentarily stunned. Master level physical skills. This is the second ability I have obtained to reach the master level after Luffy, which naturally surprised me. However, for Sati, this was the best opportunity, as she swung her whip at Katie. There's no time to be happy, but Katie hasn't forgotten that there's another enemy on her side that can't be ignored. The whistling sound generated by the compressed air suddenly sounded in my ears, and without hesitation, I quickly dodged Sati's whip on my side. Humph, accept the whipping of death. Sati couldn't help but feel a slight anger when he missed a single hit, and his hand movements kept hitting the second and third strikes. In the blink of an eye, Sati launched nearly 10 attacks. The wind howled in her ears, and the world before her was filled with whip shadows. It must be said that so far, Sati is the first person to pose a threat to herself. If such an attack were placed a few minutes ago, I'm afraid I would have to retreat and temporarily avoid the sharpness. However, it is not used now. Although the opponent's attacks spread all over the body, one's own eyes can clearly see each attack of the opponent, and not only that, the brain also provides methods for attacking or defending. I did not awaken to the senses, and the reason for this is attributed to the master-level physical skills I obtained from Sati, which enabled me to face such a level of attack head-on. Hee, it's my turn. After evading the enemy's attacks one after another, Katie finally found the gap and loophole in the opponent's body. Her body flashed instantly, and she used the 6-style shave to come directly to Sati's body. She broke through the gap and immediately took off her sheath. A cross-shaped slash almost hit Sati's body from zero distance. In an instant, Sati's whole body was covered in goosebumps, and the extremely dangerous signal kept ringing in her mind. Swinging his whip in front of him with his right hand, his body frantically retreated. It was not until this moment that Sati realized the strength of the young man who had escaped from the underground prison. Not only did he master the moon step in the 6 moves, but he also mastered the extremely difficult skill of shaving. Not only did he master it simply, but he also achieved proficiency above that of a rear admiral in the Navy headquarters. His combat skills, physical skills, and skills were not inferior to his own, and his strength was enough to rival the pirate who offered a bounty of over 100 million. God knows how Sati would react if she found out that Katie's physical skills were obtained from herself.